I'd like to call the City of Waterville City Council meeting Monday, May 8th, 2023 to order. And I would ask Anthony Bruno to lead us in the prayer.
Loving God, as we come together tonight for the City of Waterville, we pause to ask you to be with us and guide our way. May your spirit of peace surround all we say and do this evening. We ask for your strength to do what is best for the good of Waterville. Lord God, as servants of your people, we pray that you grant us a share of your wisdom. Amen.
Amen.
I'd ask you to rise, and I'd ask former council member Tim Guzman, also a member of the Safety Committee, to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd ask the clerk to perform the roll call.
Mr. Browski?
Here.
Mr. Rosa?
Here.
Mr. Bruno?
Here.
Mayor Pedro?
Here.
Mrs. Duncan?
Here.
Mrs. Bruno? Here. Mr. Fry?
Here. Thank you. Next, we have a couple of presentations tonight, and we're pleased to have the Toledo Regional Transit Authority, TARTA, with us tonight, the Chief Executive Officer, Laura, along with special guests, citizen Kelsey Hoagland, who's a member of the board, as well as some other staff members. So I would ask Laura to please go to the podium and introduce your guests, and then present your report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I will introduce my colleagues, and then I'm going to turn it over to, I call Trustee Hoagland from the TARTA Board of Trustees. So we have Susan Gedham, our Chief of Staff, who is also our project lead on our new service, TARTA Flex. Alex Huffaker, who is Executive Assistant in my office. And then we also have our newest TARTA employee, Rick Bailey, who's our Chief Customer Experience and Mobility Officer, which encompasses also overseeing our paratransit service, TARPS.
Thank you, Laura. Hello, good evening. Hi, councilmen and councilwomen. Thank you for having us again this evening. Just a couple of quick updates that I want to provide. Of course, this is the largest crowd that you guys have had since we've gotten to come present to you, so that's great. Heard that you got to check out the TARTA Flex vehicle this evening, and sounds like hopefully some good reviews, like the way it looks, and a little bit more approachable. So glad to have that service here in the community. And then I also just wanted to reflect briefly. Of course, you know we have our new funding mechanism that went into place last year. And we wanted to share a little bit of information about the funding that actually comes back to communities, and specifically what we're seeing here come back to us in Waterville. So in this year, 2023, we had the 2022 funding that we received in the amount of $37,500 that came back to the community. And then in August, we will actually start receiving our annual allotment, which is going to be consistent $90,000 moving forward on an annual basis. So those are dollars that are coming back to our community that we refer to as light funding. That's local investments in transit enhancements. Yes, thank you, Laura. And so, yeah, so we're glad to see that money coming back here, and that is really a result of our community showing their support for issue 12 when it was on the ballot many months ago now. But we appreciate that and appreciate the support, and it's really an honor to serve on this board for such a hard and important part of our community in our region. So any questions? I'm sure Laura will have a lot of information that she's going to share in her presentation, and then we'll all stick around for any questions that might pop up.
Thank you.
All right. Very good. Thanks, Laura.
Sure, thank you. Really, again, Kelsey is an outstanding trustee, having served in the role of president of the TARTA board for 2 years during some major, maybe it was more, 2.5 years of major transition. And that's how it's possible that we have so much to share, and that's why we say next is now. So things are happening. And as we start out, I do want to cover our comprehensive operational plan, which is called TARTA Next. You have an executive summary at your seat, and we started that back early 2021. And we spent nearly, close to 2 years. We were very thorough with community engagement. I think the last time we came out to present was to give you a rough draft of that plan, and we were also talking to our customers. We also spent a lot of time. We wanted to look at data and information and industry trends to have the best practices. And so in November 2022, our Board of Trustees adopted the plan. I'm happy to say some of the recommendations in that plan we had already gone forward, because once issue 12 passed, there were things we had to immediately restore, such as Sunday service. That was critical for people who need to get to work, need to get to church services. I mean, people's lives don't stop on Sunday. But with the plan passed, we were also very aggressive. Our board wanted to see us expand quickly. And so I'll talk about that service, TARTA Flex, and more in depth about how that's allowing us to go into areas that maybe traditionally don't really align with a traditional TARTA fixed route or a 40-foot bus. But also you'll see here about TARTA Next. It is a 10-year vision, but what's unique is we wanted it to have an action plan. We did not want this sitting on the shelf. So the board approved also when they adopted the vision and plan, they adopted an 18-month, like, go get it done. And so at the end of March, we expanded service into Springfield Township and Holland. Why does that matter to Waterville? Because again, you'll see with the new TARTA Flex service, now your residents can get up to Springfield and Holland. There's shopping, there's jobs, there's additional amenities that we can help serve. And so also the focus was in the main areas. We want to improve urban mobility. That is our bread and butter. And so you can kind of flip it upside down, or the next is kind of sideways for Waterville. This is a way also, when we improve the urban mobility and the frequency of the routes, a lot of people are going to use those bus routes to get out to the end, pick up Flex, and go the rest of the way. And that could be young professionals who live downtown who want to get out here for some of those great restaurants and festivals that you have. Expanding regional connectivity. So we'll talk about that now we have to serve all of Lucas County and the city of Rossford. That is now 300 square, I think more than 300 square miles that we need to serve. That's a lot of area, but we're dedicated in doing that. And then strengthening the customer experience. To have a dedicated leader like Rick focused on customer experience, but the expectation for my team, from me and the board, is that everyone's role is to give an excellent customer experience. So this gives kind of a more tactical map of how we divided the area in TARTA Next, how we're going to cover it, and how we layer service. So right now, TARTA provides 3 main services. We have 20 fixed route bus lines, which is our bread and butter. Last year, we ran about 1.7 million rides, so that's great. We're quickly restoring to our old pre-pandemic 2 million rides. We have the new TARTA Flex and then our paratransit service TARPs, which is critical to people who are not able to drive, have limitations on using the fixed route service, or maybe even Flex. And that can be because they're older adults, they have cognitive or physical disabilities. It's a very critical, important service. But what we like to think about, again, is we're this ecosystem. And we may not, and we don't profess to be the only game in town, so we have to think about that there's bike share and biking itself, there's pedestrian, there's scooters, there are taxis, they're part of our world. So we look at these connection points where we can have various other services, even Uber and Lyft. And so we're proposing and looking at about 6 different locations around where these can converge and where people may blend and switch between the different services. And as you can see, it also shows and proposes, as we move out, all the way out to the eastern of Lucas County and out to the west, how do we serve those areas? These are very, for us in transit, our world, these are really rural areas, but they're also transit deserts, meaning trying to get Uber or Lyft out there or to get an affordable taxi ride does not exist. Now, with TARTA Flex and TARTA going out there, we can give them hopefully another option that can meet their needs. So we're gonna go right into Tarta Flex, the new service. Excited, you know, we had the vehicle out here. It was so great. I appreciate all of the council members there to greet us and to see the vehicle. So you saw the Pacific vehicle, which can hold technically 3 people in 1 wheelchair. But this is the larger Ram Pro Master that can hold more like 7 or 8 people, as well as a wheelchair. So very intentional that they have ramps. We are using our vehicles and our drivers. So let me just run through. I mean, what is this? Because I think a lot of times people just can't even imagine that transit and TARTA can provide something like this at this point. It is on-demand microtransit. So the easiest way I can describe it is very similar to Uber or Lyft. If you go to the TARTA Flex app, which I will not be offended if you're looking down and you're downloading it, that's cool. Go right ahead. But you put in your location, where you are, and then where you need to go. And you get to select if you're 1 or more passengers, if you need a wheelchair, if you have a child, 5 or under. And then you can actually also pay for your trip through the app. Or you can pay cash. And I'm gonna go through a scenario for all of us. We're gonna get to take a ride together with our trustee, Kelsey Hoagland, to explain it more. So let me just highlight a few other things. Again, the TARTA vehicles and drivers. So we actually did dedicated focus groups with a marketing firm, Hart, and that was top of the list. I mean, just think about, you know that you are getting a TARTA driver who is, these are actually CDL drivers too. So if they're not driving TARTA Flex, they can do our buses, which means they've had 12 weeks or more of training, ongoing training backed by our safety personnel, our transportation supervisors. I mean, that is a lot of credibility to it. These vehicles are brand new. We are leasing them locally from Tesco, and we're able to do all this with an ODOT grant of a little over $1 million. So this is pilot, which means we're testing both the vehicles, and we intentionally even did the design. We wanted something different. We're going into suburban rural communities, and we want to look like, because it's a different option for you. So we had it kind of an understated but elevated look, and we think that has been very positively received. And then we'll talk about how you can use this from zone to zone, as well as to and from the fixed route. And the great point is, point to point, it's just $3 for one person. If you do require a caretaker, that person can ride for free. We have a lot of customers who need to switch between fixed route and the flex, free to connect to fixed route. So we want to be affordable. That's what public transit is about. All right, so this is the options of how you can book a flex ride. So you download the app, TARTA Flex, and then you go ahead and set up your payment method as well. Isn't that great? You can use your, you can just pay mobile. You don't have to worry about it. You can request a ride on tarta.com. So we're super excited that you can go on our website or use your tablet. And then finally, you can reserve the ride over the phone. So we have a lot of people who are using this. They used to use tarps, or they're older adults, and the comfort level is not with an app, maybe not even online. No problem. You call our customer service reps. They will gladly reserve the ride. And this team, the CSRs, are excellent because they also do the paratransit service. So they are very well trained and comfortable working with people of all kind of ability levels. All right, so this is our spring system app. We change our service 4 times a year. And I just wanted to show that so you could see the big picture of what we run 7 days a week. Actually, our fixed route and paratransit run really their routes, and their trips start going before 5 a.m. and they go until almost 11 p.m. at night, Monday through Friday. And then we have a shorter weekend schedule. As far as Tarta Flex, it's 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then it's 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on the weekends. We're intentional about the time periods we check. Again, going through a pilot, if we see that there's a lot of need for offering service later, we'll do that. We're really focused on essential trips of work, doctors, medical, school, and essential shopping as well. So not to rule out entertainment, because I'm going to give you a scenario. That's a great need. But again, as we constantly survey and talk to our customers, those are the top utilizations of us. And even though with more local funding, we still have to really be mindful of getting enough ROI on those taxpayer dollars. So let's talk about Tarta Flex, the zones. So Waterville is in the Tarta Flex Southwest zone. And I worked on launching a very similar service in Columbus when I was with the Central Ohio Transit Authority. And we just would keep our zones by one municipality. What I love here is that we've been able to expand it to include multiple municipalities. I think that gives far more options to residents and the businesses and organizations that exist. So if you think about it, I mean, you are including White House, Monclova, and you can actually now, someone could take Tarta Flex. If they work downtown, they could take it into Maumee, and they could take the fixed route line all the way downtown. Also, you have two overlap transfer zones, and that is important to point out because one is the Toledo Express Airport. So think about this. Now you have an option if you want to take a flight to Arizona, to Florida. You could take just for $3 one way to the airport, leave your card home, leave it in the garage, and then you could take it back home. We never had service like this to and from the airport, and the airport has been great working with us. But also you talk about the airport, they are surrounded by jobs, so this is another opportunity for whether it's Waterville residents, and that's who we're focused on tonight, but they could also be using the flex to go to jobs there. And then another overlap transfer zone is up at Spring Meadows. And so now Waterville residents can connect to another route, which is our 32. Yeah, it's the 32. And so that is another opportunity to connect residents into the city. So I'm just really excited and pleased with the way the team and actually working. I should say this is a public-private partnership. We're in the business of transit, not software developers. So we worked with NeoRide, which is a consortium of transit systems in Ohio and other states, and going through a selection process. We selected VIA for the software provider. They're global, and I know they operate similar services. I was out in Seattle and was able to test them. So phenomenal team. When Susan was leading the launch, I mean, she had a launch team, then she had her permanent team, and I mean, it was like a war room. So they have been fantastic, and just the amount of data that we can glean too. You know, this is just a new day for us. All right, so before we go on our ride, I do want to give you, speaking of data, since we started at the end of January, and it was just a soft launch because I'm going to be honest, our team had been working with paper manifests, like, you know, here's a piece of paper, here's who you go pick up. Could they have to follow the app and be directed. The team responded fantastic. In fact, VIA said that our team adjusted more quickly than most, which was wonderful to hear, but so did our community. Before we even got marketing out there, we had over 1,247 accounts created. We've had over 1,000 app downloads, and since late January, we've had 253 flex rides here for Waterville. And so we're really excited about that. We didn't even start promoting the service heavily until the end of March. And so just so you know, I mean, that's a big difference because we had 15 in Waterville when it started, and by April we've had 99 for the month. So we just expect it to keep growing, especially after tonight. That's what we want. That's what we want. We have 8 vehicles, by the way, 4 of the Pacificas, 4 of those Ram ProMasters. So I'm gonna take you on a virtual trip because we did bring a small vehicle, so we couldn't fit everyone in it. And we are going to join Kelsey and her husband, Tanner. Busy parents, young children, 4 beautiful children, but parents need an evening out. So Kelsey and Tanner want to go to Buffalo Rock Brewing Company, and I'm just going to walk through, like, how do you do that? So because they're going to go have a nice evening and want to be safe, they've decided to use the TartaFlex, leave the car at home. And Kelsey downloaded the TartaFlex app. She set herself up for payment. She has the babysitter coming over at 5 o'clock, but she also knows the babysitter needs her to be back by 8:30. Okay, so Kelsey she was a little like with young kids, all right, when will I really get to leave the house? So she's gonna use the app real time, but she scheduled her ride home for 8:30, okay? So here she is, and she puts in the app, and to request the ride, she selects, there's 2, her and her husband, and then she goes ahead, she confirms, because they say it's 5 o'clock, we're gonna be there at 5:20 p.m., so in 20 minutes, we have a window of up to 30 minutes, and then the TartaFlex app, or TartaFlex vehicle arrives, and they go ahead and get in. They're greeted by a Tarta driver, and they are off on their way.
Sorry.
That's okay. All right. And now all of a sudden she's at the brewery and enjoying herself. And because, I mean, well-deserved time, again, Kelsey's like, I don't want to have to think about requesting the ride. I already scheduled it. It's coming for us at 8:15. And sure enough, the Flex driver arrives right at 8:15. In this case, though, Kelsey did not pay ahead. She has $6, 3 for her, 3 for Tanner, and there is an easy box right there, fare box in the vehicle, and so she just pays exact cash, which I'd like to say, Tarta was intentional, unique. We want this to be very accessible. No, not everyone is into using mobile payment. So they get in their vehicle, and off they go, and they return back to home within 15 minutes. And, one thing I should note along the way, because it is public transit, you may pick up a neighbor or 2. So if another neighbor is going to Buffalo Rock Brewing Company, the vehicle would stop, pick them up. So what's great with the software is it economizes those rides for us. All right, so that's Flex. And I really hope that you get out, you give it a try, and of course, I always love a chance to ride real time, so you can contact me. But let me give you some quick updates too, because we have been busy. We have the Youth Summer Blast Pass. So we had an opportunity this year we were going to create this Blast Pass. We feel it's really important for youth early on to learn how to use transit. And our original concept was June, July, and August, youth could have a Tarta pass for $25, and that would give them the fixed route and the flex, all for $25 all summer. And then if a youth also qualified for paratransit, they could use the pass. We were really fortunate that the Greater Toledo Community Foundation approached us with their 50th anniversary celebration and said, we want to donate $50,000 to free passes. And it was a win-win to line that up with the Youth Summer Pass program. So now we can offer all of the passes at no cost. That actually funds 2,000 passes. The Tarta board said, if we go through all 2,000, which we want to, we'll cover the remainder. So we really hope youth can go on right now to tarda.com. We can, in a couple weeks, we'll have the physical pass, but I know my teenagers, it's all about this, right? So you can also have it on your phone, and we can also work with schools or organizations and upload, several youth if needed. Next is our TARDA Customer Advisory Committee. Susan is leading that, along with Rick will be involved. And this is a way we want to stay plugged into the community. We know people are busy. We have a public comment period at the beginning of TARDA's board meetings. That may not always be the most convenient way. So this is a way we're going to meet bi-monthly. We have 15 members. We've selected 12, and I know Sarah Sopper with Waterville, City of Waterville, a resident who uses Flex and paratransit, will be a member of that. And it's just a way for us to really stay in touch, and then there will be report outs to the board, and our board president is a de facto member. So we're taking their time seriously. And then this is the best way to end the presentation. I can't give you all the details because our chief communications officer would not be happy with me. But in a couple weeks, there'll be a press conference, and Waterville will definitely be, should be getting ready to, be ready to ride the Muddy Shuttle. Get your tickets ready. We have sort of changed it a little bit, just meaning, again, we've looked at the data. We talked with the Mud Hens directly, and we got the highest, like, who are the biggest fans? Waterville is one, if not the one, along with who, when we did run the shuttle, who was utilizing it a lot. So like everyone in this day and age post-COVID, we're limited with drivers. So when we announce it, it's, we targeted, we feel like, the best days of the week and the best games. So more to come. Great. Well, thank you for the time, and I don't know if you have questions. I'm happy and the team to take them, or certainly can follow up.
Well, I want to thank you, and I'll certainly ask council if they got a comment. I do have a few, but council? No?
Well, as a Tartar rider for many, many years, I'm very excited about the new service. I think it's great. I know that it took a lot to get to this point, especially with COVID and then funding. And I think you've, hit a home run here. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anyone else?
Mayor,
John?
Just two questions. One is the $1 million grant, is that one time, or is that possibly continuing?
It's just one time. Yeah. So we definitely have to sustain that, but we've built that into our financial model. What we liked was that it did give us the chance to pilot some things, just like the vehicles that we're trying that out, the different types of vehicles, and we just feel that it will also help us get out to across the county faster than if we were just using our own funding.
You could apply for another one, though, if...
We could. We certainly could.
Laura, if you could mention just the amount of dollars that you guys have been awarded in the last couple of years. I mean, it's tremendous, in the tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah, I think it's about $17 million at least. So there was a competitive COVID relief grant that we won that was around $13 million. We've won also for an expansion planning grant. We also won for bus and bus facility, because our central garage has not had any updates in 40 years. So we're replacing the roof, we're adding heating so we don't have to run our buses all night. I mean, that's crazy, right? And then the garage doors can be automatic, which we need that. We need to think about safety and just, not opening and closing them manually.
Sure.
But then this competitive state grants, we were awarded, I think close to $3 million. And a lot of that's technology too. If you went on one of our fixed route buses now, there's actually digital screens in all of them, and we have what we call a route ladder. So I mean, even myself as a transit regular, if I'm riding a new route, I get anxious and I want to see and obsessively follow when do I get off on my route, and the ladder will show you. So each stop you get to, it kind of falls off. It's very similar. If you ride the DC Metro, they use the same style of technology. And then we have annunciators. So it'll say approaching, you know, Secor and Monroe. So we are, I mean, those are, sound like, those are big deals and they're big dollars. And on the backbone of that is also just more technology for our drivers and our entire system. So we're getting away from the paper manifest.
Anyone
One
else?
more, just a
Yes,
quick
sir.
note. Are the vehicles on in the zone, for example, in our zone, is the small bus here all the time? Am I off? Oh, right, I'm sorry. How about this? Is the small bus on the road in our zone all the time, or does it come from a central office when a call is made?
Yeah, it's actually kind of hovering. It could, it could be finishing up a ride in Maumee. What it'll do is the software, and Susan can correct me, you're a little more, do you want to?
Right, so the buses do live at our central garage, that's where they're based. That's where maintenance and where they get cleaned, obviously the cash boxes get emptied. But once the rides come in, and it's on demand, so, you know, things are coming in all the time, those manifests are changing all the time, and the drivers all have tablets right there that they can look at. So they may be around in the area, and that's what dictates how long that, how many minutes it will take to pick you up. So if they happen to, if the system knows, hey, we've got a vehicle that's over at Kroger here, and Kelsey asked for it, like, well, it's gonna be 10 minutes. Or if it's at Kroger Mummy, well, that's gonna be, you know, a little longer. So it's the system, and it's impossible to say where they are, you know, gonna be at any given time, because it ebbs and flows in such a magical way.
Yeah.
The algorithms.
Yeah.
They're powerful, and they work.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Great, that's good, thank you. That's
Sure.
good, thank you.
Anyone else, council?
I think you're gonna need more Tartiflexes.
I think
this is
so.
gonna be
I
very
think so.
popular.
Yeah, we're noticing that. So we have 22 new bus drivers graduate at the end of the month. So we're excited. We're gonna get them on the road, and then that will allow us also to be running more flex vehicles, because Susan was watching on the weekends at first. It was, the ridership was in half, but yeah, it's picking up. And I think with the weather warmer, people will really on a Saturday or Sunday want to use this service. So, you know, that's a feedback, and we want to try to address those things quickly. We don't want people to get too frustrated and not try us again. So if you hear anything, let us know. This is,
We need more vehicles.
yeah, so.
Rod, you have a comment?
I'm just glad, I'm looking forward to hearing more about the Tarta Muddy Shuttle.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I will tell you this, I mean, Waterville utilized that for both the mud hens and the walleyes, a lot. So, I mean,
Okay.
on weekends, Friday and Saturday night games, I know I'll speak for the walleyes since those are the ones that I go to, but, two full buses, so I'm looking forward to hearing more about
Sure.
that, so.
Sure, yeah. There was one night, maybe it was this past weekend, I was really wishing we were ready for it, because I think there was a walleye game, a mud hens
Oh, yeah.
game,
Yeah.
concert, there's something else. I mean, that's a sweet spot for us.
Yeah.
And I've been talking or exchanging emails with the mayor. I mean, for your big events too, you know, those are opportunities for us to help out, because when you have streets closed, that becomes a safety issue too.
Yeah.
So if we can help bring people in, so that everyone can have fun, but we're not kind of overloading the street and the system, you know, we want to be there.
Thank you.
Well, thanks again, a great presentation. I will let the citizen know I did ride the bus from the library to this location, and it was a comfortable ride. Laura
Right.
gave me all the information in advance. And then secondly, you touched on what we talked about in the emails, but you're looking forward to being involved in some of our summer activities, so that's a plus. And I know we'll get together with Sam and some other folks on that, as well as our Chamber of Commerce. So I think for that presentation, TARTA has worked hard. I was here 2 or 3 years ago laying out a vision, and here it is in place. So thank you very much. And I know you have great board members, trustees, you have great employees, but it's nice to have one that lives right here in Waterville, Ohio. Kelsey, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you are welcome to stay as long as you want, Tarda folks, but you can excuse yourself if you like.
I'm gonna go turn on channel 1032.
Pardon me?
I'm gonna go turn on channel 1032.
Yeah.
YouTube.
YouTube now.
Deal.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye, Kelsey.
Thanks. Next, we have another presentation, and this is one of the great things about our community. We have lots of volunteers that participate in various committees, and I would say our Waterville Tree Commission is one of the most active commissions in the state of Ohio. And Todd Borowski is our council representative on the Tree Commission. And Todd, you may want to make some comments.
Sure. So, boy, it's been quite some time ago. We had Stephanie Miller from Ohio Urban Forestry come in, and we talked about putting together a management plan for the Tree Commission. And tonight we have Peg Ryan, that's going to be talking about this this management plan. However, we do have 4 people here from the Tree Commission, and if you want to stand up, Bill, Nancy, and Mary Beth. So they've all been part. Well, Mary Beth is our newest member, right?
No.
Who's our?
She's been here longer. She's been on the commission longer than I have.
Okay, take that back. Our one of our oldest members. one of the members that's been with the Tree Commission. Yeah. I'm just gonna turn it over to Peg right now. So.
And Nancy even longer. Although Mary Beth and Nancy are both ex officio members, they love our community and they continue to volunteer a lot of time in the Tree Commission. I've already been introduced, Peg Ryan with the Tree Commission, and I've been on the Tree Commission for about 16 years. I'm guessing, it's around that time. And I'd like to give you just a little bit of history of what the Tree Commission has done, at least during that time. One of the first biggest projects that we completed was a master planting design for the city. That entailed identifying every block and what trees are there and what trees ought to be there in the event one has to be replaced. We had a lot of expert tree knowledge in our Tree Commission, and so we were able to identify a lot of varieties that would maximize the city's canopy, and in such a way that it would create a diverse population of trees. So no one area would be taken out by an insect or by a disease. Instead, our diversity is going to protect the city in the long run. That master planting design was the first master planting design that was done in the region. So we're quite proud of that, and it's been utilized by other communities as an example of how to get it done. The next big project we did was our strategic plan that this council approved back in 2018. That strategic plan was developed to identify and plan for activities, roles, and responsibilities of the Tree Commission. What should we be doing on a monthly and annual basis to, again, better our urban forest. Basically, our strategic plan keeps us on track as a Tree Commission. A third major accomplishment is the tree inventory that is ongoing and continually updated with, in large part because of Public Works in the record keeping that they're doing as they remove and plant trees. They're supporting the tree inventory that we've done, and so it's continually being updated. So we're really pleased about that. We don't have to do quite the inventories that we did in the past, where every 5 years we had to go out and count every tree over again. Instead, we're utilizing the technology that's available to us.
Peg, could you
Yes.
try to speak into the microphone
Oh, okay.
so they can hear, so they can hear you at home?
Okay. A couple of bragging points for the city of Waterville. That is that Waterville has been awarded a Tree City USA designation by the Arbor Day Foundation for the past 27 years. And that's because of the work the Tree Commission does. With that designation, Waterville has been eligible for Tree City USA Growth Awards, which that doesn't validate, but we've been given that growth award for 11 years. And that's for our participation and demonstration of increased levels of tree care and community engagement. We do that through things like the items that have made us eligible for that growth award is our tree inventory, the educational programs that we do with the elementary schools, the Arbor Day programs, and the trainings that we've done with the general public. So today, the Tree Commission has presented our urban forestry management plan, which has been put together to assist in the management of our urban forest by identifying and planning activities and recommending schedules for the city through Public Works in concert with the Tree Commission. The management plan was developed in consultation with Stephanie Miller, who was mentioned earlier. She is our regional urban forester, Division of Forestry with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, and input from our city administrator, John. Thank you very much for your for your comments. Everyone's been provided a copy of that management plan. I hope you've had a chance to look it over, and we are open to any comments, though and any questions in that regard. You'll see on page 1, it details our goals and objectives for that management plan and the action steps that are then further detailed later in the plan. It's the recommendation of the Tree Commission that the council approve our City of Waterville urban forestry management plan to assist the city and to more effectively manage its urban forest today and in the future.
Thank you very much for the presentation, and I'll open it up to council if we got comments. Todd?
Great job, Peg. I do want to say our Tree Commission is very active. I've served on a couple other committees, and we are so fortunate to have the group of people that we do have on the Tree Commission. They worked really hard putting this management plan together. Every time I go to the Tree Commission and I leave, I'm so impressed with the knowledge that is at the Tree Commission and how excited they are about our city and all of our trees. And putting together this inventory that they did it was so much work that everyone did over there. And now that Wes kind of took over, he's maintaining that electronically as we take down trees and add trees. And we planted, I think it was 152 trees, somewhere around there last year. And they're just doing a great job. So I guess I'm not as, I don't look at other communities, but I do find it hard to believe that there's any other communities that have the passion that we do in Waterville for the Tree Commission. So I'm lucky to be on the board.
Good. Thank you, Todd. John?
Just a comment, Mayor, and that is, I heard a long time ago from some wise sage that the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago.
We planned it for future generations, but from my own perspective, driving down a block and seeing old, mature trees next to younger trees is just refreshing to me because
Yeah.
it's a visual that this city continues to grow. We're not stagnant, and we're just continuing to invest in not just the beautification, but also all of the other benefits that trees bring to our community.
Well, and the rest of that wisdom indeed is that the second best time to plant is today. So that's what you're doing.
Exactly, and that's the plan. If you read into the details of our management plan, we intend to plant so many a year, different varieties, and the management plan is quite detailed. There's a lot of elbow room, but it's quite detailed in what our plans are going forward. From young tree training to pruning more mature trees that are in good shape, but maybe they're hanging over a street, something like that. And all of this management plan has been crafted in consultation with Public Works too, because they're the ones who do the real work out there. And so we wanted to make sure that it's doable, that our action steps are doable by the city. And we're pretty confident at this point.
That's great.
Yeah.
Let me just, if I could ask also, does the inventory include only trees on the public property, or? Okay,
It's only our, and in the parks.
in the parks, right, okay, good. So we have to inventory our own trees, in other words, personally.
You do.
Yeah.
Are you being charged? Although, as a tree commission, if any member of the public has a question about their own specific tree that might be in the middle of their yard, we have a lot of knowledge on the tree commission. You can call any of us, email any of us, come to a tree commission meeting. We're very open to answering
It's
those
good to know,
questions.
yeah, thank you, great.
Thanks, John.
Thanks,
Anthony?
Yep, just want to say thank you for your presentation and all the hard work that you put in. You guys definitely keep the town looking great, and that's obvious as you drive up and down the street, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Mary?
Thank you very much for all your service. And I learned about volcanoing a tree.
Volcano mulching?
Yes. And as people have, their mulch bags laid out by their trees right now, and I'm like, oh. Probably the hardest thing I ever did was go up to a guy's door and say, hi, I know you worked on this all day, but you're going to kill the tree doing that? And he was like, you're kidding. What are you talking about? And I'm like, you need to bring it down. And so I showed him your paper on it, and I was like, brave, but he fixed it, and I felt so much better because he had 6 young trees, and I think he thought, oh, I've done such a great job, but he basically put the mulch way too high. So
More like a donut rather than a volcano.
correct. So
Round there and round at the sides.
but he was very thankful for the information, so I appreciate the education.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary. Barb?
Same, you guys are awesome.
Yeah.
I took Todd's place one night when he couldn't attend one of the meetings. When was it? Was that a year ago? Probably now. As fast as time flies, right? And you guys were presenting this then, and I was blown away. But this has been a work in progress for
Years.
a year or 2 or more.
Yeah.
So yeah, no committee in the city of Waterville, or probably in the state, works harder than you guys. I'm telling you. No, you deserve all the credit, and yeah, this is a gold standard. So yeah, congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Rod?
Just echoing what everybody else is saying, I really appreciate your time and your service. You said 16 years?
Yes.
That's great.
And I am not the oldest member.
Yeah.
or the
Like, we've
longest
probably got a couple.
Nancy.
We've probably got a couple other ones out here too.
That's right.
But-
So we're very fortunate. We continue to look. We expect that we're going to be short 2 members.
Okay.
In the next year, and so we are very open to applications to come and sit on our tree commission. If you've got the skill, you've got the talent, you've got the interest, we would welcome your application to the tree commission.
Okay.
And then just one more thing, I would like to thank you for allowing us to have a 7th meeting each year. We added the June meeting. This year, it's been a couple of years since where we've been limited to just 6. We find that, although 12 months
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The only thing I'll add is all the things that you mentioned. One thing that I found very interesting was that the value of a tree on a roadway, asphalt or concrete, the life of the road is extended when things are properly done. So not only the beauty of the tree, the beauty of the leaves and whatnot, but there's other benefits that
There are economic benefits, there are environmental benefits, there are mental benefits that come with just the planting of one tree. And I'm sure all of you, as you've driven down our roads and our streets, you feel differently when you walk down a street that has trees than you do if you walk down a street that has none. It's like walking through a new development, even if they have little tiny trees, well, that's helpful, but it's not as fulfilling as having a robust canopy overhead.
I think the Tree Commission needs also a round of applause. Thank you very much.
Finally, we are seeking your approval of our management plan.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Next. Todd, I would ask you to make a motion to accept the urban forest management plan.
So, may I make a motion to accept the urban forestry management plan?
Need a second?
Second?
Second, Mary Duncan. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is the approval of our minutes from our regular council meeting from April 24th, 2023. Council, if you had a chance to receive and review the minutes, I'd ask for a motion to accept the minutes from, so moved, John Rosick. Need a second?
Second.
Second,
And Mayor, I will abstain. I was absent at that meeting.
okay. Any more discussion? We have a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. Next is citizens' comments, and I do have one citizen who would like to speak. And David Brenner, if you could please come to the microphone, state your name and your address, please.
David Brenner, 133 South 2nd, and I'll just keep this short and sweet. I just wanted to come up here tonight and just say thank you. The due diligence and the amount of time that you guys put in to serve on council and be a public servant, it's amazing. You know, and I know I'm speaking for myself, but I also think I represent a silent majority here in Waterville that we're tired of the divisiveness. We're tired of the rhetoric that's going on in this community. We understand that if you make a vote that doesn't go against how I believe, I know it's not corrupt. I know many of you personally, and I know that you guys are just outstanding individuals. You have the best interests of the city at heart. And I just wanted to say that, you know, just thank you from myself and from many others here in Waterville. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Yes, sir. Would you want go to the microphone, please?
I did not realize I had to
You're right.
go ahead of time. I have a quick question.
State your name, please, and address.
My name is Gary Christie, and I live at 148 Rutledge Drive in beautiful Waterville, Ohio. There was an accident several years ago on Farmview that knocked down a street lamp, and nothing has been done about it since. It is located right in the area of 1033, 1039 Farmview. Right now, there's a nice bright orange cone that sits on top of all the remnants of that street lamp, and I just wonder what's going to happen.
We're going to take care of it. How's that?
Well, I thought you'd say that, Tim, so that's why I wanted to bring it up.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is a Toledo Edison lamp post, and I don't know whether you're aware, but we've had a little bit of difficulty to get them to replace burned out lamps and poles, but we will ask them again about that one.
We'll do that. Thank you. Okay. Next up is our staff reports, and I would start with our administrator.
Thank you, Mayor.
Council has a copy of my report. I wanted to add that you probably have noticed that the traffic signal poles are being replaced at the intersection of Farnsworth and Anthony Wayne Trail, Mechanic and Anthony Wayne Trail. The luminaires, which are the street light portion of the signal poles, of course, they didn't come in with the poles, so we might be seeing the poles are up, but no lights on the new poles, but we are keeping the existing street lights in the intersection to light the intersection until those lights come in. So I wanted to mention that. Early this morning, we had a fire at McDonald's early this morning, and it was a grease fire, and they're probably going to be closed for a while, making repairs, and then they'll have to be inspected by the health department, building department, and our fire department. So they will be closed. The staff is trying to work with Lucas County to find a better location or a new location for the recycling dumpsters that were at Kroger's. So, we're looking for a site that's open in the evening, weekends, is lighted, it's paved. So we are looking for another location for those. So that's a Lucas County program, and so we're going to work with the county on trying to find a place either in Waterville or near Waterville for that program. If anyone has any questions?
Questions for John?
So John, I was riding my bike back from Kroger the other day, and I drove by Public Works, and I noticed there's 2 drives at Public Works. The first drive, it looks like, did we have recycling there at one point in the side of the building to the left?
Yeah.
Did we? Yeah, because the side of the building to the left, it actually looks like there might be room to put some dumpsters in there, and I don't know if that would be possible, or if we could even think about doing something. Have you been to White House's recycling?
No.
They have like I think we should all kind of go by White House and look how they did it. They surrounded it with arborvitae, which is great. If anything blows, it's going to catch any of the trash that blows out of them. And it's kind of a U shape. You pull in, Public Works is in the back, and then you kind of go in, you dump your recycling, and then you pull right out. So it's a really nice system. But I don't know where we could do something like that in the city, but there is. It looks like on the first drive, going The North Drive. the North Drive. Right. Yes, there might be room there. Just a thought, food for thought.
Anyone else for the administrator? Next up, our law director,
No report tonight, Your Honor.
finance director. Okay. And our treasurer. All right, thank you. Next is communications from council members, and I will start with Vice Mayor Rod Fry.
The only thing I have tonight, Mayor, is I just want to thank my fellow council members for their support when it comes to the cemetery district. We were able to renew or reapprove the levy for 2024 in addition to the 2024 appropriations. We always have to do this so far in advance, but again, I appreciate everybody's support, and that's it.
Good. Barb?
Well, I am happy to announce that Waterworks Park is going to be having its grand reopening with a ball game. Mark your calendars, Wednesday, May 17th. We're going to need some press on this. And at 6 p.m. And it's going to be between, let me get this right here. It's an Anthony Wayne, let's see here. Okay. Oh, she's sending more. Okay. Anthony Wayne Gold 10U versus SGS Magic Berderstedt. So there you go. But we're going to have some food trucks out there, and it'll be great festivities and just bring back the charm of Waterworks Park. And I am just, some things are worth the fight, and this was definitely worth it.
Yep.
And I hope you all can make it.
Good.
And just, stay tuned. There's, we'll be developing things. If you got some ideas for, what you want to see there that night, let me know.
Thank you, Barb.
6 o'clock, 6 p.m.
6 o'clock.
Mary?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Anthony?
Just to kind of piggyback off what Barb just said, we had a great Parks and Rec meeting, and May 20th, we will be having a community cleanup day, and we're gonna do a planting project at Waterworks Park. So, again, that's May 20th, it's a Saturday, we're gonna start at 8 a.m. and working in conjunction with Wardell's. Gonna be getting all of our plants from there, and we're gonna put a lot of work into it, so Waterworks Park is gonna look excellent.
Good, thank you. John Rosick.
Just a little historical note, Mayor. Thanks to the Waterville Historical Society, they had a post on Facebook, but today is the anniversary of the first canal boat to come through Waterville, May 8th, 1843. So it changed the whole dynamic of the city. Obviously, that was not quite the Erie Canal, it was the Wabash Erie Canal, not the Miami Erie Canal, but eventually it was all connected. And so today, how many years ago was that, Todd? 100 and quite a few years ago. The first canal boat, right down the Anthony Wayne Trail.
Cool. So we've gone from canal boats to flex Tarda
Yeah, there you go.
progress. Todd?
Just real quick about Waterworks Park. I've always enjoyed that park. I love the lights, and you know, I've seen a lot of flooding over the years, and there was a lot of effort put into restoring Waterworks Park, what we were going to do. The other day I was walking the dogs, and I took the back way after my typical walk through the city, and they were practicing on the fields, which was so great to see. So we walked through the park and everything, and it does look fantastic over there. It's all cleaned up, and yeah, I'm very proud of the Parks Department. So yeah, good job.
Good. So a couple things. A few of us participated with the Coffee with Police a week or so ago, and that was the safest place to be in the area. We had the Ohio Highway Patrol, the Lucas County Sheriffs, Waterville Township Police, White House, and certainly our great City of Waterville Police there. And it showed a little bit of cooperation. Some citizens got a chance to talk to the officers, and it was just a nice event. Secondly, a reminder, I think I mentioned this before, but you should have seen some publicity tomorrow night at 6 p.m. at Zion Lutheran Church, right across the street. President of the Toledo St. Vincent's Hospital, Bob Baxter, is going to be speaking to the citizens. Welcome to anybody in Waterville Township, White House. They'll give an update on the changes that are taking place at St. Luke's. And I can tell you, I talked to Bob last week, and it's an ever-changing program. So tomorrow, you'll get the latest and greatest from him. I also mentioned before, and I want to remind everybody, May 29th, Memorial Day. Please consider attending the Memorial Day celebration. 10 a.m. at Veterans Park in White House, Ohio. 11 a.m. at Wakeman Cemetery in Waterville. There'll be the Anthony Wayne Band, Honor Guard, Boy Scouts Troop 97 from White House and 101 from Waterville. There'll be the Battalion Operations Officer from the 983rd Engineer Group, and then community leaders, and it's really a nice program, and it's giving back to our community some veterans that are no longer with us, and I think it would be a nice gesture to attend that program. And don't forget Sunday is Mother's Day. 1907, Mother's Day began. I wasn't here, but so, alrighty. Next up on our agenda is ordinance 0623. This isn't. Oh, excuse me. Old business 0523, an ordinance amending plat or part 3 of the codified ordinance of the City of Waterville, Schedule 4 of the traffic schedules, no turn on red, northbound Anthony Wayne Trail at Mechanic Street. The first reading was April 13th. The second reading was tonight, April 24th. And the third reading and legislative action is scheduled for May 8th. John, do you want to add anything to that?
Mayor, I have nothing to add. Third reading of this ordinance, and it was recommended by the Safety Committee at their April 6th, 2023 public meeting.
Good, thank you. Next now is ordinance 0623. Yeah, well, tonight?
Today's May 8th.
No, today's May 8th. Sorry about that. I need a motion to accept ordinance 0523.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye, it's an ordinance though, so it's a roll
Uh,
call.
Yeah.
Roll call.
Okay, Mr. Fry,
yes.
Mr. Bruno,
Oh, yes.
Mrs. Duncan,
Yes.
Mayor Pedro,
Yes.
Mr. Bruno,
Yes.
Mr. Rozak,
Yes.
Mr. Borowski.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, we'll go on to ordinance 0623. This is an ordinance creating the Waterville Downtown Redevelopment District 1, Waterville Downtown Redevelopment District 2, Waterville Redevelopment District 4, Waterville Downtown Redevelopment District 5, Waterville Redevelopment District 7, Waterville Downtown Redevelopment District 8, and declaring an improvement to the certain parcels of real property to be public purposes, exempting 70% of the value of such improvements for the real property taxation for a period of 30 years, requiring the owner of the parcel to make service payments in lieu of taxes. Specifically, the plan for using service payments to promote economic development and job creation, authorizing the executive execution of an economic development plan, established the Waterville Downtown Redevelopment District 1 Fund, Waterville Downtown Redevelopment District 2 Fund, Waterville Downtown Redevelopment District 3 Fund, Waterville Downtown Redevelopment District 4 Fund, Waterville Downtown Redevelopment District 5 Fund, Waterville Downtown Redevelopment District 7 Fund, and the Waterville Downtown Redevelopment District 8 Fund for the deposit of such service payments and approving related matters. The first reading was April 24th. The second reading was May 8th. And the third reading, legislative action, will be scheduled for May 22. John, anything else to add to that?
Thank you, Mayor. We had a presentation at our last council meeting from Mr. Nate Green, who's the consultant that the city worked with on this project. And this is an economic development tool, and it allows the city to use increases in property tax revenue to finance redevelopment projects of commercial, office, retail, industrial uses in each of these 8 districts. And we can also give out grants, loans, and finance public infrastructure improvements in these districts. It's for a 30-year period, and we worked with the school districts, Anthony Wayne Local Schools, and Penna Career Center on this, and this is our second reading.
Good. Any questions for the administrator? All right, before we go to executive session, I want to make one other comment. There has been some citizens contacting me, and I guess I'm putting it out there. You know, we are going to have our fireworks on July 4th, and this is a community event, and sometimes organizations step up and kind of do their own thing. We are looking for some volunteers that would help coordinate that. I know the Boy Scouts are looking to get involved, and there's some others. So that's something that citizens might consider becoming involved in. That's July 4th, and as those plans become more known, we will certainly announce them. Now, we're going to conduct an executive session to conference with the law director to discuss Ohio Revised Code 121.22G3, imminent and pending court action. I do not expect us to have any further council business after that executive committee meeting, so I need a motion to move into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.